Every moment, our environment is throwing its impressions upon the aperture. There is the world of what I see around me, what I hear around me, what I smell, what I taste, and what I touch as heat and cold. So we have a fivefold universe which is double in its nature. An incoming fivefold universe. An incoming fivefold universe. And an outgoing fivefold universe. Through the five senses, the mind is receiving the impressions of the environment. And this is the aperture where we receive. But within the aperture, there is another part also, where from the mind is working, the eyes are seeing, the ears are hearing, the nose is smelling, the tongue is tasting, and the skin is touching, feeling the touch. From within, the sensations are working. From outside, the objects are working upon the sensations. The senses are in between, and the center of the senses is the aperture. When you stand at the aperture for a moment and imagine your position, you are in the midst of two currents, one traveling from outside towards yourself, another traveling from you outside. The first is called the negative force, that is falling upon you and making you receive. Since you are receiving the impressions, it is the negative pole of yourself. And there is the positive pole within, that is the transmitting pole, wherefrom your senses are working outside, like the rays of the sun traveling from the center to circumference. This can be called the positive pole, because you are expanding out from within. You are transmitting yourself out. The first is the negative pole, the second is the positive pole, and the first pole is conditioning you, and the second pole is transcending the condition. So the first pole is called the pole of bondage or conditioning. The second is called the pole of liberation, that is transcending the conditioning. Transcending is not transgressing. Transgressing is different from transcending. If I break this instrument, it is called transgressing. If I use this instrument for a higher purpose, it is called transcending. If I become a slave of this instrument and play with it, it is neither transcending nor transgressing, but it is indulging. We also have these three phases: the phase of indulgence, the phase of transgression, and the phase of transcending. Three phases alternate in us. The one is the phase of indulgence, when we are playing with the values of our life, when we try to take delight in the senses and the mind and spend the valuable span of our life. It is called indulgence. The second aspect is transgression. When I want to get out of this conditioning from outside, I make my inexperienced attempts at first, and this is what we call transgressing. I begin to break the law. I begin to break the principles of living. I begin to make my own fight into the world, and the result is transgressing. I will find myself crippled in every way in life, with all the instruments broken. Once again, the instruments will be given. Once again, I will begin to break them because of my inexperience. Once again, they will be given, and I begin to learn more and more whenever a new set of instruments are given. This is what we call evolution, and this is what we call rebirth. Every time a new instrument is given, we are expected to experiment with it. And we are given the full liberty to spoil it many times, to break every part of it many times, and gradually begin to know how to use it. And then also we are given again and again better sets of instruments. It is only for this purpose that evolution exists. And we are nothing but the space within and outside. When the aperture is there, we are there. Because the phenomenon is called mind.